Cup up.
4, 3, 2, 1, and we're action.
Good afternoon, David.
Good afternoon, David. How you doing?
I'm no bad, mate, as you know, because we've been sitting talking for the last couple of
weeks. Because I don't see the feed, I should actually read up from YouTube or something like that to see when we actually go live. But at the moment, when I've been watching Indie Truck Davey, I've been seeing that you come in halfway through a sentence, which isn't very professional on our part, right? So what we're trying to do, guys, hello guys, how you doing? We're trying to make it whereby we do a count of 10 before we speak, all right? So if you see us sat there looking a bit, right,
Well,
then
we're a damn old guys wonder what they're doing.
Yeah, we're delivering.
Right, David, end of the month again, 31st of the 7th, 2025.
Yes.
Thursday. New month tomorrow.
Hang on. End of the month, Friday.
I've spoken to three establishments in East Lothian, the East Lothian Food Bank. They're going to be easy to deal with. Spoke to the last day. The other two seem to think it's some sort of scam. I'm working with them, you know, try to get me to go and have a look at the channel and see what we do is real, you know.
Yeah. Also to show that sometimes our own family brings up interesting suggestions. My wife, that you can probably see just in the background there, right? She's come up with a new name for Corbyn's party, but we'll get that.
Let's wait until we get there. Yes, and then you can set the tumbleweed free.
Yes,
okay. Right, first talking point of today, David, goes with a headline in the Herald this morning.
Yes.
Where the Herald was insisting we were missing out on huge nuclear contracts. Now, the SNP's policy and the Scottish Government's policy, David, as people will know, is anti-nuclear, whether it be power or whether it be weapons of warfare. Right? So, as you know, David, as I was saying this morning, we're already a net exporter of energy. Well, we're about to become a bigger net exporter of energy.
Yeah. Well, why do you think that those people in England want Scotland to take all the nuclear power stations, right? Because what they can do is they site all the nuclear power stations in Scotland, and they've got big cables that run everything back down, so they're away from the radiation and the necessary of keep all keep the radiation away, keep the storage of all the spent fuel rods and all the rest of it away, right? And they get all the good bits, which is just the electricity at the end.
Well, anyway, just to stick it right up the Herald, Kate Forbes, Deputy First Minister, has announced the approval of the Berwick Bank wind turbine farm to be sited 23 miles off the coast of Berwick,
yes,
in the North Sea, where it will generate enough power to power all the homes in Scotland twice.
Are we just out of interest, right?
307 turbines, by the way.
Yeah, we've all seen that what they did with the border. It no longer goes directly out from Berwick. It goes like that a bit, goes up a bit.
It goes now.
It's actually in terms of that, is it in English waters or is it in Scottish waters?
Well, in which case, then it depends on where it's sited. But as Berwick Bank is actually still it is in the English where they call the English side now, because our coastline starts at Carnoustie now.
Yes, I know. Duncan, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And we agree, it is a need nuclear. And as it says, we're already a net exporter. We're about to become a super exporter, because this new 307 wind turbines will supply Scotland with twice the energy it needs to run its domestic needs. So, yes. Of course, that means it's gone to England.
Yes.
So the interconnector will probably come ashore somewhere like Newcastle.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
At the end of the day, it's like I've got to say, it's like, therefore that is an English wind farm. Simple as that, David. You can't, at the moment, until we become independent, you can't really argue the toss where it is.
Rosie's no enamoured with the idea of this new wind farm, but looks like she's got Forbes as a needs it. Anyway, there was a resistance to this development on conservation grounds, and that was the Davies seabirds. But the planning, for permission for such a thing would take in environmental studies and things like that. So at 23 mile out, they must be pretty sure it'll be safe enough.
Well, yeah, you look at a big flock of seabirds, right? I mean, I watch seagulls like at sea, right? They land where they like, and I can imagine flying through with wind turbine blades of traveling at some speed when they're rotating round,
Yep.
right? If they are, so you might as well say, let's take all the jet engines out of the sky, because the amount of times that jet engines are killing the bird strikes, right? Something like that.
Well, as I say, it passed. But the thing is, it doesn't guarantee it'll be built because of the Green Levy, David.
Yeah.
Planning permission granted, but that doesn't mean anybody's going to want to go to the trouble of building this wind farm because of the Green Levies. Is it going to be worthwhile?
There you've got Labour with their GB Electric or whatever it's called this week. They're going, somebody wants some money. Somebody wants that. You want to build it? You want to build a wind farm? Right. Fine. Give us £1. That'll give us. We give you £1,000 back to put into it.
David, something along those lines.
We're stupid. We shouldn't be putting up with this. Time for independence. End of story.
Now, as I say, as we know, Trump is no happy with wind farms, and that's because of the many development, the wind farm up his coast.
Yeah.
And he had a shot at Nicola Sturgeon because it was her that defeated him in court.
Yeah. Trump doesn't like that because when he's lining up for the 16th hole, that he's going to cheat at it anyway. He's going to move the ball to near the hole. His caddy's well trained in that. Oh, it's Trump. Oh, we'll just move the ball over here.
And Laurie says it's a puffin colony that might well be affected. See, I haven't seen the environmental studies. I just know that Kate folks said after careful consideration, they've decided it should go ahead.
Right. So therefore, puffins generally, I see them on mountainsides near seas, right?
Of course.
And it's like we got Torness Nuclear Power Station. My goodness me, it must be dreadful for the puffins there.
Well, if there is any puffins along that coastline, but there might be in the islands out in the Forth.
Yeah, might be. You never know.
But so let's go ahead. Well, like a belt's a different story, folks. We'll see what happens. Now let's move on, David. Call to simplify the Scottish Disability Benefit System.
Yes.
Has been made, and a government
a bit of common sense from Scotland as opposed to what happens in England.
Yes.
Because we actually the whole thing about this is a report that was done over whether the Scottish disability system was any good. And the chap that was brought in was an expert. David will be able to tell you exactly where he's from. He's from the third sector, right?
His name is Ed O'Harris.
Yeah.
And he's run various third sector charities to deal with disabilities, and he's run various care organisations which look after disability.
Yeah. So we can look at what he's done. He said, we'll look at the new disability system in Scotland and said, very good. There's a couple of things that we could tweak, and definitely with the PIP or whatever you want to call it this week needs to go up, needs to encompass more people, all the rest of it, right? Whereas in England they want to shorten it down. They want to get it down there, just a few people.
Basically, he's only made one recommendation in the report. He was quite praised about the new system. He said it's got dignity and compassion at its soul. It pays a wee bit better than what they get in England. Yeah. He's also stated that the one recommendation he would make was that to widen the criteria for people to be able to get the benefit. At which point we had, of course,
Yeah.
the Scottish Social Security audit, which said that now that 99% of the people have been moved out, the bill for the Scottish Disability Benefit System is 5.4 billion, and there's 350,000 people on it at the moment, roughly.
Yeah.
That will increase to 700,000 in the next 5 years, apparently. And obviously, the bill will double, David.
Yeah.
Plus some, actually, because let's face it, costs are still rising.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's like through having that disability payment going out, you're actually assisting some people that can go out to work
Yes.
and earn tax, and therefore the pay tax, and therefore assisting the country in getting through what it's got to get through. The next most important point of that is that the Scottish government have asked an expert to make an opinion on whether something's any good or what's needed on it, right?
Well, it's a 2-year review, David. This system will not run in 2 years.
In England, what happens is a stupid Tory or red Tory, Labour, wakes up out of bed in the morning and goes, I think we'll do such and such. And you end up landed with something totally stupid.
Thank you, Roshan. That's very generous of you. Thank you. Over
Uh,
there in Ireland. Nice to
so-
see you amongst us today,
so-
Roshan.
We do end up with where by not consulting proper experts that know what they're talking about, the idiot politicians in England are allowed to make all of our lives a living fucking hell. Excuse the French.
Well, as you know, David, one of the reasons why they had to stop what they were doing in England was because they had neglected to fulfil their legal duty to risk assess what the impact would be. So they've actually stopped what they were going to do to the benefits doing in England, disability benefits in England, until they have done the due diligence, and then they're going to fucking do it anyway.
Yeah. Yes.
Whereas here, this Edel Harris guy has recommended to the Scottish Government in the report that the one thing that does need to happen to improve the system is to widen the criteria to make it simpler for more people to get onto the benefit. So, interesting one. Will they be able to widen the criteria given the budget restraints from Westminster? That's a different question.
A different question. So therefore, time for independence, independence, independence. Let's go, guys.
So, very, very good report. As I say, but the press here in Scotland had to go at it on the cost angle and try and make it an SNP bad story that people are living longer, even though a lot of them are living with serious health problems. You know?
Yeah, okay.
And all of that we can put down to the pandemic and things like that. A fair chunk of the people will be on long COVID, you know?
Yeah.
Which is a recognised condition, which PIP at this point, or the ADP at this point in time, doesn't it? It's not in the criteria. There'll be other things that these people are going through, which will make sure they get into the criteria, like lack of mobility and things like that. But as I say, at this point in time, that wouldn't be in the criteria. So,
most important thing is it is a benefit that is paid to people with disability who might be in work.
yes.
It's an additional payment. It's there to assist you to do what you've got to do, right?
Yep.
And that's where the people in England that comment on this tend to make the mistake. They think it has just been a benefit and it's thrown away. It's like universal benefit. It's just thrown at them. It's just there's money we're going to throw away. No, in actual fact, the people that are disabled require a wee bit extra money. They might require extra heating in their house or whatever.
Now, DJ, I'm going to address this one for you. What's the point of Holyrood? The SNP are having to take the pain from Westminster, holding back funds. The point of Holyrood is to mitigate the worst of Westminster and convince the people of Scotland that we can do it better ourselves. That's the point.
Unfortunately, though, it's not working. Right? The
It seems to be breaking through to the Scottish consciousness how much the Scottish government are actually taking the pain from them.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's not. We're not getting the break on this. Oh, that's happening in Scotland. That's happening in England. And we're coming to an article that we were going to cover that, right?
Well, we're coming to a segment where we're going to cover it. There's no reporting on it. This is stuff that we've got to make clear here, because it's observations that you and I both made when we mentioned it. You know, we realised that the news organisations and even some prominent academics in the UK are making this bloody mistake as well. But we'll get there. Next up to talk about is the 4 candidates have now been confirmed to stand for the Scottish Greens leadership election, which will get underway probably tomorrow or today. These candidates have been, because it's coming hot on the heels of this a list selection election, so it's probably underway. Anyway, the four candidates that we have is Dominic Ashmole. Nobody's heard of him. He's not an elected official, but he ran against David Mundell in the 2024 election for the Greens, taking votes away for the SNP, which wasn't a good idea.
Yeah.
But hey, it is democracy. And so we've got Ashmole, who's unknown, but the rest of MSPs, Ross Greer, Gillian Mackay, and Lorna Slater's put her name back in the hat. That election's underway. Obviously, the outcome will be important when it comes to the makeup of the next Scottish Parliament. Unless the SNP, of course, can break the mould again and get another majority, which is what John's aiming for.
That's what we need. That's at one time I would have been very, very vocal in putting down John, trying to get him to hand his daughters in, right? End of story, or give him his daughters, right? But now he's come away with this. I thought, right, fine. What have we got to lose? What have we got to lose? And it's a case of winner takes all.
Right.
Let's so therefore the idea of the Greens being in there, we don't want the Greens being in there.
We don't mind them being in there, David. It's democracy, but what we don't really want is them to be
the future of politics. Future politics, I believe, it's in the Greens' runes, if you like. All right, well, we know fine well the Greens are going to do well in the future. The SNP are right now. We have to consider that and say, right, fine. If the SNP are now, and they are our express train to independence, all aboard. All aboard. End of story.
Marlon, I take it you must have experience of the system down that road. Because according to you, Marion, if you were English and applying for PIP, you would get nothing. Well, I don't know the system. I can't really claim to be
I joined
on the benefit system.
Yeah, I got PIP when I was in Scotland. That's it. So
see, I can't say I'm up on the benefit system. I've never really used it. Right, David, what was the final cost for branch form?
Yeah, pretty damn ridiculous at £2.2 million, right? One of the things that struck me when I was reading this particular article in the National where I saw it was the fact that they mentioned several thousand, £7,000 plus on airline tickets. Why would the police they'd spend £7,000 on airline tickets?
Because when the investigation was announced, David, they sent the spooks up down the road today to investigating.
Well, also I've got another thing to look at. Is I was told by another policeman, retired, who said to me that all the policemen that were in on the TV were from London, from the Met. And we could actually see when we looked at the famous video of the forensic tent pushed up against the front of Nicola Sturgeon's house and all the policemen walking about with no shoulder badges showing their police number. Why would you do that? Why would you
Because
do that?
because they weren't from the
They
police
weren't,
force.
yeah, they weren't from East Scotland.
No,
They
they
were
weren't.
they were from the Met.
They weren't from the Met either. A bunch of fucking spooks.
No, they weren't spooks. They were from the
Sent
Met.
off to Scotland Yard.
Section 19.
They've been sent off to Scotland Yard.
Yeah.
Anyway, 2.2 million quid for one embezzlement charge, and we still don't know what that's related to.
That's right.
It's certainly not related to 600,000 fucking quid.
If a boy stuck his hand across the till as it was getting opened at a local newsagent, stole a fiver, effectively what you're talking about is like 15 police being put on the job of investigating where he was, where he lived, and all the rest of it.
We want to take this comment down, putting all one up. The Mr. Euro show will rise its head again in March through April 2026.
Yeah.
Absolutely correct, Millie.
Guaranteed. And they'll keep it open.
Yeah.
They'll keep the book open that little bit, and it just stops. I mean, at the end of the day, in the article, the Police Scotland and the Crown Office were asked to comment on it. Is that we can't comment on an open investigation, right? And they'll do that. They'll keep it open that wee bit so they don't have to answer any questions. Someone's that.
And Roisin Malone, out in Ireland, says that the investigation into the SNP was engineered to mess the SNP up. Yes, we know.
Yes, we
But
know.
that's the view from outside, David, as well. People
Yeah.
can see it from outside Scotland.
Yeah, that's important.
Which will bring us on to...
Thank you, Racine. That's very, very insightful. At the end of the day, from outside the country to be able to say that, it's wonderful.
So, it's supposed to be our way.
Yeah.
But as Millie has pointed out, Muro's court case will pop up in March or April next year.
Yeah.
Now, it was a PR that the UK press has forgotten that we exist.
Oh, yeah.
Because apparently, according to Sky, the BBC, and Professor Richard Murphy, doctors across the UK are on strike.
And the nurses are about to go on strike as well.
Right across the UK, according to the press.
And I turned to my wife, that you can see here, right, who is a nurse, right? And she's busy doing write-ups. That's what she's doing here during the day, right? And I said, have you had your increase? She said, yes, and we've had our back money as well. So what's this about? You're going on strike? She said, no, that's not us. That's the English lads that are going on strike.
Right. But all of a sudden, it's right across the UK.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is England is the UK. Wales and Scotland don't really exist.
That's right. That's right. But you can imagine.
I was very surprised at having to berate.
You can imagine somebody in Scotland looking at that on a TV. Oh, it's lunchtime. I'll put on the news, right? Okay, and they're being fed this blooming nonsense, and they're going, "Oh hell, our NHS that dreadful state, isn't it? Look at that. Our nurse are going on strike. The doctor are going strike. Oh bloody hell, what we're going to do?"
To say, I had to make a comment on Richard Murphy's a video and all. He was talking about doctors in the UK when saying, "What you fucking talk? You're talking about England here, Richard."
Yeah.
No. Anyway, they had to destroy her reputation and career. As Gove said, she was a danger to the union. They had to get her gone at any cost. Absolutely correct. It was the same with Humza. It was the same with Alec before.
Did I see the other day there that Gov is eventually published and be damned? He's published the reference or the polling figures they had. Did I see that online the other day there?
No, it's been a few weeks. The interesting thing is the figures for England are no there.
Right.
I've already wrote
it. It was 70% wanted independence.
Aye, as I say, but Kazi Bartley sent the leaked document to me.
Yeah.
And as I say, the interesting thing was he released everything except for the England figures.
Yeah.
You know, because we know he pulled all 4 nations, but only 3 nations are on it.
Yeah.
On the report.
Yeah.
Which is highly interesting. But as I say, It would appear, folks, that when it comes to MSN, England is now the UK. Okay. Which is fair enough, they can fucking have it. But it shows you how propaganda works, and it does start to infect people's heads. Because when you get prominent academics making the same mistake as the mainstream media, as they play England and the UK and the UK and England.
Yeah.
It's the same with the Britain thing and all. But I mean, it really annoys me and all when you see their sporting events down there and the English are all waving the Union Jack, Stevie St George's flag. Well,
Team Britain.
Right, we're just coming at an end of the Scottish section, bang on time. Now, the next one's quite interesting, because this is you get to tell us what they're going to call the new party right after we get to that.
Yes.
All right, folks, I'll set you up for this one. Get ready for tumbleweed after I've done this introduction. All right, Professor John Curtis warns Starmer to be wary of Corbyn's new party, as over 300,000 have signed up to join when your party, as it's being called at the moment, is launched later this year at a conference where they will also announce the name. And of course, selecting the name, Jeremy Corbyn's put it out to public consultation. So, Davey, has he got a good idea?
I popped down the rabbit hole and the wife was there. I said, what goes with raisin? And she said, rum. And I went, oh, it's brilliant, right? So if you imagine, it's like the moment we've got JCP, Jeremy Corbyn party, right? Okay. But we've got Corbyn and Sultana. We've gone with Sultana, raisin, right? So, and what English, the favourite brew for English on boats is rum. So we'll call it the Rum and Raisin Party. How's about that? We've named it! Jeremy, what are you calling it?
Anyway, David, it's not called the JCP party at the moment. It's called the Your Party at the moment. And Stephen McNeill says it will further split the unionist vote here in Scotland.
Yeah.
That depends on how many idiots for our side vote for him.
Oh, you'll
because
find a
we
lot.
see what happened in the Westminster election.
They voted Labour to get rid of Tory, right? Eat it, right? Now what they're going to do is they're going to vote the Rum and Raisin Party to get rid of Labour. That's it.
Apparently they've hit 500,000.
Yeah.
And that will hit Reform and it will hit Labour. The question is he going to come into Scotland?
Well, but when you're talking about, we think that Mary Black is going that direction as well. Or David thinks, anyway.
I think it's a possibility. I mean, our parting shot was there was a better organisation she could give her time to. Yeah. 2 days later, Corbyn and Sultana announced a party.
Yeah. Rum and Raisin.
Whatever. So, is he going to stand in the Scottish elections? Because we know he's going to stand in the local elections in England next year.
Of course he will.
You think so?
Yeah, of course he will. As far as I'm concerned, looking at it, he'll do what any political party in England does. It's like they'll have Scottish MPs and they'll have English MP and Welsh MPs, right? And Northern Ireland MPs. Simple as that. So you probably find that the Rum and Raisin Party will be all the way throughout what is the UK.
Right.
And I don't know, I don't have any tools at the moment to be able to deal with the Rum and Raisin Party because, in effect, I agree with them. I agree with them taking on Starmer and killing off Labour, but then we're in problems with our own people who aren't savvy enough to go, we don't want to vote for this. We actually want to vote for a party that's going to give us independence.
Are Corbyn said they're okay with Scotland deciding its own future? In principle, yes.
No, he said that once he gains power, long grass, it'll be beyond the long grass.
Of course it will. Of course it will, David. But as I said, in principle,
let's have a committee on it.
In principle, he is a Democrat.
Yeah, let's have a
And
committee
he
on
did
it.
say it was rank for Westminster to thwart the will of the Scottish Parliament and the Scottish people. When, over the last few elections, they've won a majority pro-Indy Parliament, but they won't recognise it, as you know, because it's no SNP.
One of Corbyn's favourite jokes is, how many psychiatrists it take to unscrew a bulb? Well, not really that many, but they have to want to do it.
Right. Let's move on.
Right.
The Palestinian recognition stooshy started off in the Times this morning with cross-party peer of 43 peers. 43 cross-party peers sending a letter to the Lord Advocate saying that they couldn't recognise Palestine because it didn't meet the 1933 Montevideo conventions. Okay, now the conventions laid down prior to the United Nations existence. That's why they went back to before the United Nations. Prior to the United Nations existence, the rules for recognising a state, they had to have set borders, stable population, stable government. Now Israel's made sure Palestine's getting any of these things.
Yeah.
But that was under the old rules. And as it turns out, Small Business Minister Gareth Thomas counters and tells them, hey, we didn't sign up to these conventions. So what was it that these lords then said, David? Well, Lord Collins of Wilkesbury and Lord Panic, KC, claim, although the UK hadn't signed up, it had become part of the customary law, whatever the hell that means.
Right. The European Convention on Human Rights, the UK signed up to that, right? And if you imagine that to get rid of the European Convention on Human Rights, the UK Parliament is going through many hell to get it off, get it away, right? Because they don't want it anymore, right? So if we signed up to this convention, this Montevideo, running state Montevideo convention, do we not have a situation whereby we couldn't get rid of it? It's probably on the books and all the rest of it. Is it hell? It's not. It's nowhere.
No, that's what I said this morning. It was on the books because these lords said it was on the books. Turns out the UK didn't sign it. What these lords are now claiming is it's become part of customary law, whatever the fuck customary law is.
Seriously, bugger off, right? End of the day, it's like here we've got people that are trying to give Starmer an excuse not to recognise Palestine.
Anyway, a fair few of these 43 lords are Jews, believe it or not.
I appreciate that would be the case, but in actual fact, I would say a fair few of them might be Labour or Tory that was in Friends of Israel territory.
There's that as well. But as I say,
they got a lot of free trips and you know all the rest of it, everything that goes with it. And Mossad had them lined up in the bedroom with photographs and all the rest of it. But there you go.
We'll jump to Nigel Farage in Tory MP story to carry on with this particular Palestine stooshy, because at this point in time, Canada, Germany, and Portugal are all considering joining the UK. In fact, Canada's already Mark Carney's already made a speech on it. It was a copy and paste of Keir Starmer's speech. So Canada, UK, potentially Germany and Portugal are all going to recognise Palestine in September at the United Nations General Assembly. So
and basically what they've done is they've now boxed Starmer into a corner, and you can't not do it.
No, the other three countries have now boxed them into a corner.
That's right, yeah.
So Israel isn't going to meet the conditions that have been put down by Canada and the UK, which are the same conditions.
Yeah.
I dare say that Germany and Portugal will weigh conditions down as well that Israel will refuse to meet.
The condition, the one bit that I got wrong was I thought the condition was not going out of Gaza. You could say that by September, after they've done what they're doing now, you could say, well, Gaza's done. Let's move all the soldiers and tanks and all the rest of it over to the West Bank, really get that done. So then they can say, well, we're finishing Gaza, so that's us. We're keeping to what the thing is. However, it's not just a case of finishing with Gaza. What is it, Dave? What's one of the main
The
conditions?
conditions that they stop expansion in the West Bank.
Yeah. And the annexation.
And the annexation of the West Bank. The other one of the conditions is that the Palestine Authority takes control of the whole of Palestine and holds democratic elections.
Now,
and that the two-state solution should be brought about.
Yeah, the two-state solution won't work. And the reason it won't work is dead simple. Israel don't want it. Simple as that. And Arafat, way back in the past, remember the chap that had the Arab headdress on? You might remember, way back. It's like, he said, I would accept the two-state solution. But I look at Israel and I think there's no chance of it happening.
No, they wouldn't stick to terms and conditions of any agreement.
That's right. He said, you want to know what the terms and agreements are? They're different this week to what they were last week.
Well, Israel wouldn't put down the terms and conditions, wouldn't they write anything down? That's why Arafat had to leave the table.
That's right. They would tell you verbally, but they would not write anything down.
That's why the Camp David Accords went nowhere at all.
That's right. Yeah.
But of course, none of this is being told to people. It's a bit like when you and I were talking about the greatest heist ever carried out against the UK public was done under Tony Blair.
Oh yeah.
And people don't realise it because they don't recognise the timeline of what happened.
Yeah. What was it? Just incidentally, what was the end? What was the timeline that did happen that people need to know about?
Well, on the build-up for Thatcher to Major, there was ideas floated about which would transfer the burden of paying proper wages from the owners of the companies who hired their employees to the middle-class taxpayers.
Yeah.
It was the biggest heist ever carried out. It was called the tax credit system. And it came hand in hand with the second heist. It was a double whammy. And of course, David, you and I both know that was a minimum wage. Because if the minimum wage hadn't been introduced, public sector wages right now would be 27% higher and private sector wages would be 17% higher. So actually, we'd have been all fucking better off.
If you don't understand that, guys, the minimum wage, if you think about it, effectively it's got to be agreed on by the government. So therefore, it's not even like a trade union goes in and says we want 3% more this year, right? If it doesn't happen in 5 years, then the people are stuck on minimum wage and they're stuck there, and that's it. And that's why the doctors are wanting 27%, is it, to get them back in the line?
Wage reparation, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, the Scottish doctors and the Scottish nurses, as you rightly pointed out, they got their back pay, they got their wage reparations.
That's right.
But West Street and Shell Benton, no getting to the doctors down that road.
Yeah.
But I say, people don't really understand.
We're going to say Scottish doctors and Scottish nurses are cock at a hoop and doing cartwheels to work. They're not, because they're still heavily worked. My wife is working some nights to 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night, doing what she does, right? However, it is good. They're being paid a bit better than definitely in England. So, okay.
But so that's basically what we say about the Stouchy for Palestine recognition, and the fact that other countries are now doing the same thing. France led the way, followed by the UK, then Canada, Germany and Portugal still to declare, but it looks as if they're going to recognise Palestine as well.
Can I just answer one that's very quick? Ian McNeil says, why is everything in Scotland always minimum? In actual fact, in Scotland, the SNP brought in the living wage, which was better than the minimum wage. All
And they
right,
also promised to increase it by inflation each year,
that's right.
which
That's
they
right.
have done.
Yes, they
I
have
mean,
done.
Sarah's a queen is now making more money than the boys in the shop. Flair done that place for years.
Yeah, get a union in, quick.
Thanks, John. You're a star, mate. I hope you're keeping well. And I hope Edith is keeping well. Right, aye, brilliant. So let's move on. Former Tory MP quits Tories to join Reform. Adam Halloway, who served from 2005 to 2024 in the Conservative Party, said he is not joining Reform UK to get re-elected to become an MP. Davies says, he fucking is. There's no
we,
much there to add to that.
the wee soul has looked at his life as a Tory MP now and think, oh, we're buggered. That's it. You know, if you are Tory now, you're a known person now, right? And the Labour are going to find that after their term in office. They're going
One
to,
term in office.
yeah, the one term. Just got we really, really, really shockingly buggered the whole thing up, right? So the Roman Reason Party, I hope it does well, but I really do hope that people of Scotland are a bit more savvy this time than giving their votes to an English party. Why? Why would you do that?
No, no. Anyway, at the same time, Nigel Farage, there's just been an investigation, parliamentary standards committee has just opened an investigation into him after
Yeah.
a complaint by a Labour lord who has remained unnamed.
Right. Let's. This one I looked at and I looked at again, right? And I thought, if we're going to go after Farage,
Well, they are going to
go after. I've got loads of things to go after him on, right? Especially his words that he wants to privatise the NHS, right? Now he wants to privatise Scottish, English, you name it, the NHS right through, right?
Yep.
So go after him on that. Go after the point that his party it obeys all the rules of fascism. The reason we know that so clearly is because the Tories and Labour have both tried to emulate what the Reform are doing, and they're showing signs of being fascist.
Well,
Right?
anyway, David, as I said this morning, we'll start when a Streeton told the BMA that they wouldn't win the wage war. They're basically telling the people of England, well, there goes your fucking NHS because
Yeah.
they're going to up sticks and leave.
That's right. Yes.
And they are going to up sticks and leave. Oh, sort this light out.
You look at the amount of young English lasses, nurses that have ended up in Australia. I've seen TV programs, reports, they're having a great time, right?
And the ones that don't want to go that far, they're going to Canada or Scotland.
Yeah, that's right.
You know. And see, we seem to be getting a great influx of people from the south of the border at the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I just hope that when they get up here, they realise that the one stipulation we're going to put on them, we really are going to put on was, do you want a decent experience of living here? If you want a decent experience of living here, then you're going to have to help us get Scotland independence.
Well, as you know, David, one of the biggest groups in Scotland in the independence movement is English Scots for Independence. And that group keeps getting bigger.
But that still meant there was a huge number of people from England that voted no, right? And all that is just it's education. It's down to education. You're not voting against your own the country where you're born. You're voting against a political party. You're voting against a political setup.
Aye.
The social union would still exist after independence, right? That's the important thing. The financial, the economic union is gone. The political union is gone, but but the social union would remain, do you not think we would still care for the people of England? Of course we would. Of course we would, right? And hopefully then, once that happens, we've got a time where the English people are going to have to come to their senses and take on the Parliament and go, hang on, how come that lot of the road are getting it so good and we're getting it so bad?
Well, basically, David, as you know, they don't get to know what's happening here.
Yeah, but they will do. They will do.
There'll be enough of them, aye.
Yeah.
You know, at this point in time, they're still at a stage asking themselves, why are we paying for it? They don't realise that we have a separate tax system and they're no fucking paying for it.
Yeah.
You know, even though there's been a big fuss made about the English following the Scottish system in order to produce more money for the public purse.
Here's something that might make you stop and think. Well, not you, David, because I know you know about it, right? But North Korea. North Korea, you look at North Korea and you think, oh, you're watching the programs in North Korea, you're like, oh, that's dreadful, that's awful. All this, right? In actual fact, what's coming out is they're not doing it pretty okay. They're actually okay, right? They're doing a lot better than a lot of us in Scotland are doing, right? And the reason being is because they don't take any nonsense from other countries. And they're making sure that they've got things covered. Okay, 100% employment is made possible with the fact that everybody is in the army.
David, I need to address this one, okay?
Yeah.
Right? Now, exactly, David, the English Union is a lie and it's proven myth. There isn't any treaty of union. Yes, there is. Under the articles.
Yeah.
Everybody keeps parroting Westminster never signed it. No, you're right, Westminster didn't. The Scottish and English Parliament signed it. Westminster came after.
That's right.
The building might have been called Westminster Abbey at the time. Or Westminster Parliament at the time. But at that time it wasn't the Parliament of the Union. The treaty was signed by the two separate governments, which then merged into the one Parliament. And these two separate governments still exist in that Parliament. That's what the Grand Committee system's for. We've seen England use the English Grand Committee for evil. The Scottish Grand Committee hasn't been used since devolution came into being. But it's still there.
Had it been a fair treaty between two countries, such as Scotland and England at the time, we would have had more than 40 MPs.
Yes.
We'd had the same number of Scottish MPs as English MPs.
Well, I keep hearing that Westminster didn't sign it. The English Parliament signed it.
Yes, that's right.
And then they passed it through the wall for the Scottish Parliament to fucking sign it. Through a wee hole in the wall because they weren't talking to each other directly. And it was the Lords that were negotiating it.
Yeah.
Right. Let's move on. Some really wacky headlines out there, David. And apparently soon the UK will be at war with China and Russia.
Yes. Yeah. You heard it here, possibly second, because the first place we heard it from was gorgeous George Galloway.
Aye.
And I went, what are you prattling on about? And then I went and did some research and I thought, oh hell, he's got this one right. And it's like, seriously, okay, David will tell you quite rightly that there has been a new accord signed between Taiwan and China. Reason being is because China agreed to give China the technology for the chips that they are producing. That cut America out of the frame, and their technology, their tech giants are going off their bloody head and saying, "Where are we going to get chips from? We're going to have to buy them from China." And at the end of the day, they thought, right, okay, let's get the American industrial complex down there.
No, it's the industrial complex.
Yeah, industrial complex with all the big boats, all the big aircraft carriers and all the rest of it.
Nice and light.
That puts them off it, right? And at the end of the day, it's like what's happening is the Americans turn around and go, right, we'll go down there. Where's our seconds? Oh, Britain, hello, get one of your, they're not working. Get one of them, put a seagull engine on the back of one of them and see if we can get across here to Taiwan. All right.
Well, actually, DJ, that's not true either. The method for leaving the union's always been there.
Oh, so we're still on with that, right?
Anyway,
David,
back
David,
to Taiwan.
at the end of the day, if somebody is from Salvo or whatever, they've got a particular way of thinking about things, right? And if they succeed, I'll be way right. But I believe the only it's got to happen is it's got to happen with the ballot box. End of story, right?
But we
But
already know the mechanism.
the other thing that I thought was very, very insightful by an expert that I saw online was he said that what that would do is that'll pull the American boats out of the sea off Russia and Ukraine, right? What's it called again?
The Black Sea.
What?
The Black Sea.
The Black Sea, right. And that means that then that Putin would be free to do what he likes. He could take on all the Baltic states that he wants, go in and actually just sit in there, right? People wouldn't have an argument with him because there wouldn't be no fighters to take place. And then he would sit back and wait for NATO to do something. He'd go, right, come on, you bastards. I'll take you all on one at a time, right? And at the end of the day, it's like NATO will be forced to act. And if they do not act, then it's the end of NATO.
What we do know, David, and what we can tell you folks is the world order is changing.
Yeah.
America's might and power is waning and they're fighting against it.
Yes.
And a lot of America's own downfall at this point in time is being perpetrated by the Donald. He's wrecking their economy internally. He's wrecking the world's trust in them internationally.
Yeah.
And that is forcing a shift in world power. And China and the BRICS are coming to the fore. Simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there is a shift. But as for the UK going to end up in a war with Russia and China, highly unlikely. Because, David, we're down to 21 fucking vessels now, because as you just told us, one of the HMSs has had his fucking safety certificate taken off it, so it can't even sail to the next dock here to get fucking repaired.
Well, they can do if they put tongues on it. Someone's that. Yeah.
Because it hasn't got a license to fucking operate anywhere.
So it's safety lines, safety.
Aye.
Safety lines. So, yeah.
Come on, folks, there's more than 100 you watch and hit the like button, please. Get it over 100. Yeah. But, I mean, you couldn't make it up. Talk about a war with China and Russia. 76,000 professional fucking soldiers.
But tensions are that high at the moment regarding the Americans that the Americans may want to start something.
Well, that is the problem.
Yeah.
The child might strike out.
Yes. The American industrial complex, if you imagine at the moment, America.
Look at the camera, David, it's much, much better television if you look at the camera.
America is looking as if they are going down the tubes economically.
Yep.
What they're going to be left with is they're going to be left with this massive military industrial complex, right? The number of people that work in it will be going, where's my wage, right? And the generals and all the rest of it, or the admirals are going to be saying, well, go and attack such and such and we'll get you some money. That's what it comes out, and then it comes down to piracy. Some that. Yeah.
Well, that's why Starmer's idea of turning the UK into a mass military industrial complex will work. Because once you've got all these weapons built up, you've no fucking to fight. That's the end of the military complex.
The old saying of it is, if what you've got is a hammer, then every problem becomes a nail.
Aye. Aye. That's very true. So it's been quite an interesting few days in politics here in Scotland, geopolitically, and even in England, things are starting to get interesting.
Yeah.
And the fear of unrest in that road for the state is becoming more and more palpable.
Well, the Lords thing definitely reference Palestine, recognition of Palestine, right? you've got to say to yourself, that's interesting. And that therefore shows you that because the people of Great Britain want to see recognition of Palestine, that people in the Lords certainly are not our friends and allies. Unless the other Lords, unless the other Lords stand up and go, sit down, you bugger. You know right to say that. And they haven't.
The QE2, the culture of QE2 is back in the site for repairs, is it? The aircraft carrier. Lovely. The DJ, you seem to have a problem with the SNP being and you're saying Mary Black, she's seen the shit show in Hollywood. That's funny that because she sat as an MP, no an MSP, but never mind. But it would appear that DJ is not happy with the SNP. Fair dues, DJ. Can he make you support him?
That's right.
You know,
entitled to an opinion.
Everybody's entitled to opinion. David and I have always the opinion that if an organisation is not right, sort it for the inside.
Yeah, but I've got to accept that most of the things that we've got and that we take for granted are due to the SNP. Free prescriptions, free road tolls, free the elderly, free.
All waste monster rules and regulations to bring it all by 24/6. You're fucking interested in Westminster, DJ. That's a pro-independence channel. You've got no interest in fucking reforming Westminster. You want to leave the place. It's unreformable. That'll be up to the English people because it's their parliament. You know.
Time for independence, independence, independence. Very simple. If you want to get involved in reforming everything that goes on in Westminster, get ahead. Go on. Get a ticket. Go down to London, see what you can do. But I'll tell you now, see, by the time we're independent, you'll be looking at it and go, what the fuck did I do all that for?
That's because you no face the bloody camera. Harry's telling us when you're talking, David, because you're no facing the camera straight on, there's a reverberance.
Yeah. Right.
And SNP's are only option it is. Because if they're not the option, then we're looking at years and years to build again.
Yes. We need for everybody to go, do we want independence? If you want independence, you've got to vote SNP. If you vote anything else, you don't want independence. Simple as that.
Yep.
Because if you go to the Greens and go, are you going to get us independence? Oh well, right.
They have to fix the environment.
Alba, are you going to get us independence? Well, if we get somebody, maybe, right?
They're that far out of business, they don't even get their adverts in the national anymore, David.
Yeah, and you look at all these things and you go, right, okay, who are we left with? Well, if SNP is the only vehicle for independence, then I'm shouting for every person in Scotland to get off their arses and go to the polling station on the day in 2026 and vote SNP.
Charlie, I think David's three cats might have something to say about that. I'll need to check with the Cat Council, Charlie, but you know. But if you can rise to be, the chief mouser down the street, I'm sure Charlie could rise to be the head mouser in Holyrood, a Butte House.
We're thinking of changing the Two Davies YouTube channel to the Arsehole YouTube channel. There you go.
The Arsehole YouTube channel. You leave my fucking cat away, you.
He keeps on putting his arse up against your blooming camera. What can I say?
But, that's him just telling you how he feels.
Mr. McGuinness, no, I know we swear, but not very professional when you think about it, is it?
What, swearing?
No, we're talking about
the cat.
Yeah.
David, this isn't the BBC.
Don't care. I don't care. We've got people watching this. Watch this all over the place, right? And someone might be affected by that. They might deal with our swearing, but they might go, cat's ass, forget it. I'm not going to see that ever again.
I do try and cover it, David.
Right? Seriously.
As I say, Charlie doesn't come into shot that often, but when he does, it's because him and I are still in the bonding stage.
When he comes to on your knee, give him a stroke by all means. Put him on the floor. Simple as that. All right. You don't need to do that when we're doing a broadcast, right? So sorry.
I'll try my best to stop it.
Right. SNP can't deliver independence. That can only be done by a majority of the people wanting it, not a political party. However, Tom,
You do need a political vehicle, Tom.
you need a political party because you've got to have a focus for that political power from the people.
Yes.
You could have Mrs. McGlumfer and umpty million Mrs. McGlumfers and her husband and 3 Waynes and all the rest of it, right? All saying, oh yeah, we want independence, unless they've got a party that they can say, right, that's our party, and they speak for us, you're not going to get it.
It's going to be difficult if there's no vehicle or a focus to take us, politically to take us there.
Right.
As I say, the Alpha Party, it looks like they're done, they're busy suing each other, the infight is no real.
Yeah, don't talk about them at the moment because it means we leave people in a bad feeling, right? A bad taste in their mouths, whatever, right?
It is part of the vernacular, Darren, it is.
At the end of the day, if you are Scottish and you want independence, the only choice that you have, one and only choice you have, is vote SNP.
Aye.
Where we are.
Whoa, I know we're a couple of seconds late, David, but we're a couple of minutes soon now, and I've got work to go to.
Right. Well, I don't want to hear nonsense about, oh, well, we will not. 2011, SNP were voted as a majority. No bother whatsoever. Can be done. Just means that every one of you has got to vote SNP. End of story. Right?
Right, guys. I've got work tonight, so it's time to wrap this one up. We hope you found it interesting. We hope you found it informative. Thanks very much for your super chats. As I was saying earlier, I am in touch with 2 organisations in East Lothian. The East Lothian Food Bank is going to be easy to deal with. The other 2, I'm still working with them to try and convince them it's no a scam.
David, can I say to you, if they don't want it, if it's going to take that long, just get it across to
Drumchapel. Even through their website, through the East Lothian Council's website, I could only identify about 5 or 6. So if they don't get back to me, I'll move on to a couple more. You okay?
Well, for example, can we not look up way up north? What we got up at somewhere, one of the towns up north. Where's thingy stay? What right north of Scotland, Caithness. You know, see if there's a food bank there that we can actually.
There are fucking people there, never mind a food bank.
Yeah, we did it for Stornoway, so you know, and you.
David, when we get back to the Western Isles, we're working way around the country again.
Yeah, well, all I'm saying is, it shouldn't be hard work to get a hold of people. If they won't, if a food bank won't give us an answer in 1 day, or failing that 2 days, so in other words, you get a hold of them, then they phone you the second day, then go on to the next one. Don't mess about. People need this money in a timely fashion. Yeah?
We'll see what we can do.
Okay.
Yeah, Mark Telfer's got Davey broadcasting on Michael Knight's car radio. Thank you very much, Mark. Must be hooked up with your phone. You're in the drive time today. There you Mark. Right, David, that's it.
Right.
I'll get the next one scheduled for Monday. It'll be a new month. I'm always starting. This year's moving at a rapid rate of knots, David.
Oh, the other day there, it's like I put up the sign. It was that'll be now 145 days. No, 147 days. 147 shopping days at Christmas. That's important, guys. 147 shopping days at Christmas.
As I say, next time we get up to the Highlands and Islands and the Western Isles, we'll see these areas. I'm
And
getting
if any gives,
a lot of people suggesting a lot of places.
and if
You know?
any gives you any snash about voting SNP for independence, just try your best with them. And at the end of it, say, do you want a synopsis of the latest Coronation Street at the moment? Is that better for you? Do you want to do that? Right? Because some of these people are being idiots. Vote SNP, get independence, benefit all our lives. We know
Right.
things run by Westminster is a mess.
David,
We can do
we
for
have to knock it in the head. I've got work to go to.
I don't care if you got what to go to. Right, go
No,
on.
listen, I'll leave it live and I'll bugger off and leave you to it. Problem with that is you're not going to be able to switch it off because the control's at my end. Right, folks, see you on the morning. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.